I would like to introduce our executive board, and if you would be ready to stand. So I'm Kimberly Fuller, president of Ellis County Homeless Coalition. Again, we're so glad that you're here to spend this time with us today. Our vice president is Rhonda Miller. Our outreach team managers are Rick and Debbie Allison. And our treasurer is Ralph Grombush. He couldn't be with us here today, but he is retiring in early June, so hopefully he will be here next year. So I'd like to pray over our lunch, and we can get started. Heavenly Father, we praise you and we thank you for your salvation, your love, your grace and mercy. We ask for your continued equipping and guidance for all of us here in helping those in need in our community and any that you put in our path. We ask that you bless this food to nourish our bodies for your glory and service. In our Savior's name, amen. Please enjoy your lunch, and we will convene at 12 with our speakers. Thank you. Again, everybody. It kind of looks like everybody's done with lunch, so we're going to go ahead and move a little ahead of schedule. So at this time, I would like to recognize our volunteers that are here today helping us. These are members of our outreach team and volunteers that help us out with special events like this. If you'll raise your hand when I call your name: Mary Morgan, Judy Miller, Julie Mendenhall, there we go, Yanni Guillemard, did I do it? Sandra Lewis. These are our amazing volunteers, and we just couldn't do what we do without them. We'd also like to thank the Waxahachie Bible Church for hosting us here today. We so appreciate that. And we'd like to thank Walgreens, Mark Owens, for donating the water. And a big thank you to Lottie Doe Caterers for doing this wonderful lunch. Okay, so like I said, I'm Kimberly Fuller with the Ellis County Homeless Coalition, and our coalition is an all-volunteer organization, and we work to assist those that are experiencing homelessness or facing eviction to help avoid homelessness. We help them with urgent needs, whatever they have right then that needs to be addressed, and we also work with them on creating a plan to get back on their feet. A lot of times there are several steps to that, but to just help them have ownership of creating a plan, and then we will work with them the best that we can, doing what we can, and connecting them to other resources in our county. And we have had an increase in calls. In 2024, the calls that we received involved 712 individuals, and 264 of those were children. We have a lot of families living in their cars, and so it's really difficult with the rising rents. You've probably seen a lot of information on our slides, so that is a caption of what we do, and we couldn't do what we do without the collaboration of the other organizations and nonprofits in our community, so we are very grateful to them. And today, I would also like to encourage you by reminding you of something. So when we started talking about our event this year, I had a few thoughts that came to mind, memories. One of them was, a few days after my husband's funeral, I was in my backyard talking with a friend, and we were talking about the journey that it had been over a few years. And I made a comment, and he said to me, "You're one of the bravest people I know." And I looked at him in surprise, and I thought, well, if you were inside my head, you would know that wasn't true. Well, a few weeks after that, I came across a quote by John Wayne that said, "Courage is being scared to death, but saddling up anyway." And for me, those simple words just reminded me that courage is not something that you feel, it's something that you do. And that made me think of you all. And I'd like to share a famous speech by Theodore Roosevelt. You've probably heard it several times, but I want to invite you to think about what you do day in and day out while you listen to the man in the arena. "It is not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles, or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes short again and again, because there is no effort without error and shortcoming. But who does actually strive to do the deeds, who knows great enthusiasm, the great devotions, who spends himself in a worthy cause, who at the best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who at the worst, if he fails, at least fails while daring greatly, so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who neither know victory nor defeat." And whether it is in our city government, our police officers, our first responders, our nonprofits, schools, and churches, you are in the arena, and you are courageous every single day through all the things, the frustrations, discouragements, the do-overs, all of it. You show up the next day, and that is courage. And in the words of our Savior in Matthew 25:40, says, "Verily I say unto you, as you have done it unto one of the least of these my brethren, you have done it unto me." And I just want to remind you that our community needs you and what you do, so please take care of yourselves too. Thank you. And I also wanted to recognize our interns from Nelson University, Jamie Iglesias and Sandra Lewis. Both are graduating next week. Congratulations. Okay, our first speaker today, please welcome Mayor of Waxahachie, Billie Wallace.
Hello. Hope everybody is doing well. My name is Billie Wallace. I'm the mayor of Waxahachie. I've been the mayor for about a year. I've been on council starting my 5th year, moving past June because we had a runoff election. First of all, I want to personally thank each and every one of you that spend 1 hour or 10 minutes a day or a week volunteering in this community, in this county. I'm honored to be here today because I wanted to personally thank each and every one of you. I recognize a lot of faces in here, and it takes a lot of people to make a difference. And whether it's 1, 5, or 20, or 50, together we can make a difference. I want to explain a couple of things here. to you today, more of clarifying something. First of all, I spent 30 years on the police force prior to being elected to city council, so I've seen a lot of the same problems that we see today. Of course, there's more people in Ellis County now than there was then. I retired back in 2016, but as far as the panhandling and the homelessness, the problem still exists. It's just, it's larger than it was back then. But I see, and people ask all the time, you know, how come cities don't pass no soliciting ordinances? Most cities have no soliciting or no panhandling ordinances on the books. But the problem is when someone stands out wherever they decide to stand, because as we know, they might be in the median, they might be on the side of the road, but wherever they decide to stand, if they're holding up a sign and they're not saying anything, they're not panhandling and they're not soliciting. They're standing there holding a sign. And guess what? That's their right. If that's what they want to do, then there's nothing the police can do about it. The police, you know, catch a hard time about it. Why don't y'all do something about it? You're not doing anything, and that's why the problem is what it is. And as much as I can, I explain this to people. But there's always more people that don't know this. They think that because they're out there holding a sign that they're breaking some law, but they're not. Is where the problem comes in is when they actually ask, can you give me money or can you give me food or whatever their need is? But they're smart enough to know not to do that. And they know their rights. We all have rights. They have their rights as well. And I just wanted to clarify that to you today in case there was one person in this room that wasn't aware of that. So when you see them out there or somebody complains to you, help me explain to them that they're not breaking the law. That's their right. If they want to hold up a sign, if you read the sign, then that's on you. Nobody says you have to read their sign. But because we're human, we're curious what the sign says. What are they needing? What are they asking for? So that's why we read the sign. And as many times as I try not to read the sign, I read the sign. And so do you. You just can't help it because we're human. We're curious. Maybe it'll say something that we haven't seen before, you know? Anyway, I wanted to clarify that to you this morning, and just some things that Waxahachie City Council have done, because we are concerned about the growing number of homeless people in our city just like everybody else. And as you know, if it's affecting one city in Ellis County, it's affecting all of us. First of all, we need to continue working together and support each other, even if we don't agree entirely, because there are occasionally some things a city in Ellis County will do that we may not agree with. And maybe we're not going to do that in Waxahachie, but we need to support their efforts. And with that, I just want to say thank you again for everything that you do day in and day out. Obviously, you care or you wouldn't be here today. We're going to continue in Waxahachie City Council. We're going to continue to look for ways to slow down the homelessness and to find more people, places to go. I'm sure all of you have seen the signs that have been posted on 77 a few months back. That was the efforts of the Waxahachie City Council. And while it has slowed down the beggars, it has not stopped it. And guess what? It's not going to. But if we can do one thing to discourage people, because we know, and especially working with Kim and the Ellis County Homeless Coalition, they've been phenomenal. There have been times that Kim and I have gone out and visited with people on the side of the road, and we're going to do that more. Kim knows, she's got my personal cell number, and she knows any time of the day or night I'm going to answer that call. And I'll go out with her because I don't expect her to go out by herself. But anything we can do to help, to slow it down, to find a ride or find housing or a hotel, whatever we can do. And you have people that say, well, I don't know what to do. What can I do? Just do something. Just do something. Every one of you have gifts. You got to find that gift and do something. If that's a passion of yours, then think about how you can help. Maybe it's not monetary. Maybe it's not a place to stay. You know, maybe it's a bus ticket. Maybe it's a night in a hotel. Maybe it's you grabbing 4 or 5 friends and collectively you pay for a night. You know, I don't know what it is, but all of us have to find something and do something to slow this down. None of us want to see anybody on the streets. None of us do. You know why? Because we don't want to be on the streets. When you see that, what do you think? That could be me. There have been times in my life, I mean, honestly, back when I was 18 years old, I lived in my car for a while. I moved out when I was 16 because of circumstances at home. I had a car, but that's all I had. And I teamed up with a cousin of mine, and then we got a hotel room and stayed there for a few months. So I can relate to these people. I'm not mad at them, by no means. Now, or any means, but I will tell you that some of these people have homes, and they're doing that to supplement their income. You can tell. Most of them, you can tell which ones are doing that. We have some in Waxahachie. They have homes, they have families, they have a bed. But they choose to stand out on the corner with a sign and beg instead of getting a job to supplement their income. So thank you for what you do. Continue finding your gift in this fight. And I appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Billie. So in relation to what she said, another thing that we do besides homeless or those facing eviction calling into us, we have a sightings button on our website. So we have citizens in our communities that if they see somebody and it looks like, oh, that person might need help, they can fill that form out, and then our outreach team will go out and we try to meet with the person. We ask for a general description, where did you see them, so that we can go and visit with them and let them know what help is available and give them options. So please help me welcome our next speaker. Serena Billie is Program Manager of the North Texas Behavioral Health Authority.
Okay, I'm gonna set a timer. All right. So again, my name's Serena Billie. I'm with North Texas Behavioral Health Authority, also known as NIPA. So I'm going to go over our Ellis Living Room, which just had its grand opening last month. Well, first let me backtrack. NIPA is the local mental health authority for 6 counties: Ellis, Navarro, Rockwall, Hunt, Kaufman, and Dallas. So we primarily assist individuals with connecting them to behavioral health services, mental health services, and substance use services. So our Ellis Living Room, like I said, just had its grand opening, and it is basically the hub for Ellis County services. We have several different programs that are housed at that location, and I'll just go through and kind of touch on each of those programs. So the first one is our care coordination program. individuals, they're able to meet with a care coordinator that will help them identify any biopsychosocial needs and then get them connected to those resources. That could be food, clothing, mental health, substance use services, housing. That care coordinator will do an assessment and make the necessary referrals. Then that care coordinator, they will monitor or follow that individual for about a month, sometimes longer if needed, just to make sure that the necessary connections have been made and there are no barriers to accessing community resources. Then we have our OSAR department, which deals with substance use, and OSAR stands for Outreach, Screening, Assessment, and Referral. So they provide services for individuals that need to be connected or relinked to substance use services. They serve ages 13 and older. The counselor will screen and assess for appropriate services and make the necessary referrals. They can help secure state funding for individuals that are uninsured or underinsured to help eliminate that barrier. The OSAR counselor will, after they do their assessment, they can make recommendations for outpatient services, residential programs, recovery support, or a detox program, whether that be residential or ambulatory. And they also can connect individuals to opioid substitution therapy. One, I guess, kind of benefit that we have at the Ellis Living Room is that our care coordinator and our OSAR counselor are able to do what are called combo appointments. So it kind of minimizes on the amount of time that an individual is spending in appointments. So the care coordinator and the OSAR counselor, they do that together and just helps with continuity of care. Appointments for OSAR can be in person, through telehealth, or via telephone. OSAR also has community outreach and presentations that are available to different organizations or agencies. Then we have our MST program. MST stands for Multi-Systemic Therapy. They serve youth between the ages of 12 and 17 who are at risk of out-of-home placement. It's a community-based, family-driven treatment for youth exhibiting antisocial or delinquent behavior with a highly structured clinical supervision and quality assurance process. Some example behaviors that MST would be able to work with are youth that have, maybe they are stealing or any other criminal behaviors. If they have aggressive, violent, assaultive behavior, substance use, they're able to work with those youth. If they have chronic school truancy and or problem behaviors at school, and then they're also able to work with youth who have sexually offended, as long as that's in conjunction with other antisocial behavior. The focus of MST is empowering caregivers to solve current and future problems. Therapy is provided within the community to prevent barriers to accessing services. The MST therapists utilize an on-call system, and they're available 24/7, and typically treatment lasts around 3 to 5 months. At our Ellis Living Room, another program that we have is our drop-off center, or our diversion program. So that program is a rural crisis response and diversion program intended to connect individuals involved with the criminal justice system or those in or near crisis with urgent services. The goal is to provide support to individuals via the least restrictive means of care and reduce incarcerations and hospitalizations. The team primarily will assess the individuals for suicidal and or homicidal ideations, as well as if they're as well as assessing for any active hallucinations. Then they'll recommend either inpatient or outpatient services when appropriate. They also help with identifying and supporting immediate needs such as emergency shelter and emergency medication refills. But once individuals are stabilized, they can then be connected back to care coordination for less urgent needs and just ongoing support. We also have our consumer benefits program that's housed at the Ellis Living Room, and so they will help individuals get linked to government benefits, so that could be Medicaid, food stamps, disability, Medicare, any government benefit, they're able to help get them connected. This service is not, I guess, housed at the Ellis Living Room, but it is our respite program, and it would go through a care coordinator, and then they could get the individual into our respite house, which is in Corsicana. So currently we have an adult respite house that serves male and females, 18 and older. It's free of charge. Insurance isn't needed. Staff will provide the food and the meals. It's a 12-bed facility. Some of the criteria are that they are able to perform their activities of daily living. They can't have any open wounds. They can't have any violent or assault-related charges within the last 7 years. And then also, we're not able to accept families, couples, or pets. But again, the best way to get connected to those services is through care coordination. And, if you have questions, we'll review it on a case-by-case basis. Something just to keep in mind, we have our children's crisis respite, which will be opening up here in Waxahachie soon. So kind of similar to the adult respite, but there will be, of course, differences because we're working with children, and that will serve youth between the ages of 12 and 17. It's meant to be a therapeutic program just to allow youth a reprieve from whatever situation that they're experiencing. And almost anyone is able to refer to that program, except for parents. And then we have some educational and outreach programs that I'll briefly touch on. We have mental health first aid. So mental health first aid is a training that NIPA offers. We have one track that is for adults, so participants are 18 and older. We have one that is for youth, so that would be adults that work with youth. And then we have a track for teens. So that is a peer-to-peer training for children between 10th and 12th grade. And then the purpose of this training is to recognize and respond to a mental health and substance use crisis. Then we have our Zero Suicide program. And the foundational belief of zero suicide is that suicide deaths for individuals under the care of health and behavioral health systems are preventable. And last but not least, we have our LOSS team, which stands for Local Outreach to Suicide Survivors. This team of volunteers are responsible for outreach to suicide survivors, establishing connections, and offering resources and ongoing support. I know that was a lot of information, but that's 10 minutes. And if y'all have questions or, you want to, anything else, I skipped over anything, you have further follow-up, you can come to our table, and we have brochures and flyers on all of these services, okay? Thank y'all.
Thank you, Serena. That is a lot. We thank you for what you do. Now let's welcome Dena Petty, Executive Director and founder of Mentors Care.
Well, it is quite an honor to be in a room full of people that really have a heart for our most lonely, forgotten souls. And we're all surrounded. It doesn't matter where you are in the world, they're all around us. And you all have eyes to see them, and not only eyes to see them, you're taking action. So I am honored to be in the room with people that are doing this. Mentors Care is a mentoring program for at-risk, struggling high school students. We are serving every school in Ellis County now, which means we are serving nearly 400 students with over 380 mentors. That's 380 adults in Ellis County that show up every week for 1 hour once a week to meet with a student who is struggling. And it's very organized, very structured. We have incredible staff like Miss Katrina over here. We have incredible staff of Mentors Care people who are very called to this. They love what they do and they realize the importance of it and how it's truly working and impacting so many lives. We have had so many students since I started this in 2009 that struggle in so many ways. Their stories are varied, but it's the human story. Sometimes when you do not have a loving adult in your life, you really have a hard time, and you're trying to figure out life. So what we're doing is we're matching up people who really want to give of their time and just love them, just be a friend. And we try to make it as easy as possible to meet with that student, that they have everything that they need. Some of our students are just making bad decisions, goofball teenagers. So we try to whip them back into shape. And we love our kids, though, and it's pretty awesome. But they have a varied array of things that they're struggling with, and homelessness has always been around. In fact, we just had a senior exit interview this past week at one of our schools, and he shared his story that nobody knew. Nobody knew this. He was living under a trampoline with his mother, going to school every day. And what we have found that a lot of our students who are homeless, they go to school. They don't miss. It's the best part of their day. And they're going to hide it. They're going to try to not look disheveled. They're going to try to fit in with their friends. If they have a designer shirt, something that's popular, they're going to wear that shirt every day because they want to fit in. They don't want to stand out. And so we have recommended to our program those students who are struggling financially, not coming to school, missing school, acting out, risky behaviors. Our teachers and administrators do a great job of recognizing those students. And then, of course, behind in grades, because that's usually a really telltale sign things are going wrong. And we interview them. We find out if they're going to be a good candidate for our program. And then what we do, we work very hard, like Miss Katrina, to go recruit great mentors, people from our communities to mentor our students. We train them, we equip them with talking points that were written just for Mentors Care. It's going to be topics like, what does it take to be a successful person? Showing up is half the battle. Giving 120% when no one's looking. These are things a lot of our kids have never heard before. And we have one of our students that was a senior talking about how he was living under the trampoline with his mother. His mother eventually abandoned him. And then he finally opened up at school and said what was going on. So he's stable now. A lot of our students, as you know, sofa surfers, we don't have housing for them, but they find a more stable environment where they can stay for a while with a family, a friend, or whatever, until they can get through school. But they're homeless. They're, it's very critical time in their life. It's a very scary time. So we got a mentor. He's graduating here in a week. And he's going to school to be, oh my gosh, what do we call it? Welding, thank you. He's going to be a welder. So he's going to have a great life, a great career. The why behind this story, why did we start Mentors Care? I was that kid. And like you, Mayor, I was homeless. I lived in my car. I've known hunger. I've known abuse of every kind. The parents that were supposed to love me did not. They didn't know how. They were a mess. They didn't work on themselves, therefore they pass it on. Stops right here. We're going to do it better. And not only am I working on myself, not only am I trying to help others, we're going to inspire others. Because I noticed whenever I was homeless, I was disheveled. I looked bad. I looked really rough. And what was interesting is that you would think people would look at you and have soft eyes and compassion and try to find out what's going on in your life, opposite. There was judgment. And you could feel they were thinking, what did you do to deserve what you're doing right now? There was a lot of judgment. And one of the things the student said in his exit interview, it was so great to have a mentor, that did not judge me. He just met me every week and was kind to me, didn't make me feel any different, and believed in me having a future. That's how we change communities, is one-to-one. Looking at somebody in the eye and saying, you matter this much. I'm going to meet with you every week, get to know you, and find out what's going on in your life. And then let's talk about a future. Let's give you some hope. I'm really excited right now in this time of my life, turning 60. Man, I don't know, you reflect a lot. Did I do it right? Are my kids okay? Or how's my husband? Am I a good friend? Anyway, we have this incredible staff of Mentors Care. We're now in 22 high schools. We'll be serving over 1,000 students next year, and we're continuing to grow across North Texas. It's incredible. I take no credit. All praise and glory goes to God. And these great people that come along and say yes, I'm just trying not to mess it up. But right now, I feel like it's my job to inspire. So I'm writing my book. I actually just finished it. It's in the editing stages. And I have a table over here. I would love for you to sign up for the newsletter to stay in touch for when this is going to be published. We're hoping to have it out in the fall. We have to inspire one another. It's easy to put your head in the sand and say, this problem is way too big. I can't solve it. It's too big. Just walk away. I like the story of the guy that's walking down the beach, and he sees all these starfish that had beached themselves, and there was thousands of them. And he's out there, and he's picking them up and throwing the starfish out in the ocean, picks up another one, throws it out there. And this guy comes along and he goes, what are you doing? There's thousands of them. And he goes, yeah, but this one's back out there. This one's back out there. That's what we're doing. We're loving individuals one at a time. That's the ripple effect, because when you love that one and they buy in to what you're saying, guess what? They're going to go talk to somebody. They're going to go talk to somebody. That's the ripple effect. And that's how we can change communities, is one life at a time. Thank you for loving people where you are in your area of influence, and all that you do are into making a difference in your communities. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dena. Wow. What inspiration, education, and encouragement today. Again, we're so glad that you're here. Please feel free to continue networking, and please save the around this time next year for us getting together again. Thank you.